Now this isn't the prettiest thing, but it gets the job done. So you got yourself a wig, but like all wigs, it needs a little bit of work. It can be very difficult to cut your own hair, not to mention complicating it by putting a wig on your own head and trying to cut it. You need a stand-in for your head so you can take the wig off and cut it with predictable results for when you put it back on your own head. Now, due to the nature of wigs, the fact that they're movable, sometimes it's an inevitability that you might need to do a thing or two with it once it's on your head, but I really try to avoid that. It is best to cut a wig off the head. When you first get a wig, there's going to be, just based because that people's heads are different sizes, the hair is going to lay differently, it's going to spread differently. The average wig has more hair than the typical human head. So often, in order to get a wig to move the right way, like look how stiff this is back here. In order to get a wig to move the right way, you may have to do some strategic thinning. And in order to accommodate that, it's best to have a canvas wig block that you can pin the wig to and cut it properly. If you don't have a canvas wig block, you'll soon discover that mannequin heads, styrofoam heads, are much smaller than normal human heads. If I take my friend here, and in particular, mannequin heads are much smaller than my head. But I mean, look how it looks like a baby head next to mine. So if I were to take and put my wig on this mannequin and cut it, then when I put it on my big old melon, it's gonna get stretched out and sit weird and not look like I thought it did when I cut it on here. So today what I'm gonna do is show you how to make your own custom mannequin head if you don't have the proper size wig block for yourself. The supplies you're gonna need are you're gonna need a mannequin. She'll get shaved. Scotch tape, or also known as invisible tape. You really don't want to substitute anything else, especially not things like packing tape, and you'll see why in just a little bit. A Sharpie and some plastic wrap. Now, full disclosure, I've never done this on myself. I've only done it on other people, so we'll see how it goes. Get a good length of plastic wrap and try not to get it stuck to itself. Since I don't have any hair to begin with, that makes it really simple. If you have hair that you need to conceal under a wig before you rip your plastic, would be the time when you need to prepare your hair the way that you normally would under a wig. Braid it back or style it back. Get it exactly how you would normally have it under your wig. In my case, I get to skip that step. I'm gonna take our plastic wrap over the forehead, over the earlobes, and you want it to be fairly firm. Try to get it unstuck. If it's stuck, the last thing you want is a bunch of clumps and lumps. All we're looking to do is make a smooth plastic cap. This is ridiculous. I'm gonna grab another piece. Now I can't see what I'm doing. Well, I can kind of see. So I'm going over the ear. You want to make sure to cover the hairline in the back and really try to smooth out lumps and bumps. And try to make sure that there are no gaps because of the next step we're going to do. You will want to make sure you don't have any sensitivity to the adhesive that's in Scotch tape. Right, and I'm going to take and literally tape this to my forehead. I know this whole thing is starting out like a fail video. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so I have no gaps, no super huge bunches. Now is the part where we use a ton of tape. Tape really from just past the corner of the hairline, in the front, all the way around the back, and back up and around. And this is just over the top of the ears, and then back up. And this is gonna help make sure that this stays put during this process. We're gonna use a lot of tape. And then right above that, or slightly overlapping it if you can. Big long pieces and just little overlaps. Smoothing it every time. Of course, if you have a partner, this would go a lot easier. Told you I have a big head. Now I'm just going around and filling in gaps. I want to make sure that I tape over the ears and I get at least the top half of the ears, because that's going to cover your hairline. Your hairline doesn't go over the top of your earlobe. It goes underneath your earlobe. And we want to mark on your mannequin where your ears are. So it's important to make sure that we start with our plastic wrap over the ears and tape over the ears too. Okay, so the cool thing about doing this at home is that you are not on video humiliating yourself. I am. So the final step in this application, we want to grab a Sharpie. And this is why you don't want to use other types of tape, because your Scotch tape or magic tape, you can mark on it and it doesn't wipe off. Whereas things like packing tape and other clear tapes, the marker never dries. We want to be able to see through this and mark our hairline. Now in my case, I'm not that concerned about this for my purposes, but depending on what you're using this for, that could be really important. Now throughout this whole process, this should have stayed fairly tight. Remember, we taped it to the forehead, we taped it to the nape. We should be able to gently pop it off. And what I should be left with is this. This not only is going to give me a reasonable facsimile of my hairline, but because of the nature of Scotch tape, it's literally the shape of my head. I know because of the color differences, it makes it look like my head is lumpy, but it's not that lumpy. On to the next part. Since my head is shaved, I am going to shave this. She's had a good run. She's seen some things, and she's ready for a change too. So let's get all that hair off. Now that I got her shaved up to match me, notice how much bigger my head is than hers. I got a lot of movement here. That doesn't fit at all. So this is where the supplies that I didn't mention in the beginning of the video will come in. You can use paper towels. I like to use, I have some strips of some old shirts here. I just cut it into strips to make it manageable. In the book that I initially learned this technique from, they mentioned even using like Easter grass, like the shredded plastic from Easter baskets. You could even use old weave if you've got a bunch of that laying around. I'm gonna take some of my towels and literally wrap them around the mannequin until the head starts to match my circumference. So now I've got it kind of padded out around here enough that I can begin to align it. Then I'm going to tape it down on the sides and front, and we're going to stuff this puppy. Let's not worry about the top so much yet, but I do need to stuff the sides a little bit more. Next, I'm going to cut a little hole in the top. Where I can take my fabric strips or paper towels, tissue paper, old dryer sheets, whatever. That was a joke. I'm taking a tail comb and gently filling it in. You don't want to leave big air gaps. You don't want to get a big lumpy head either. See, it's starting to take the shape of my head. Now this isn't the prettiest thing, but it gets the job done. If you don't have a wig block available. So I'm going to seal up the hole on the top and then make sure I'm well secured around the back. There you go. Twins. Next time you see her, we're gonna give her a haircut. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like what you saw and you want to see some more, go ahead and check out some of my other videos. Feel free to share with any of your nerdy friends. Click the subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Let me know what else you want to hear about. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.